What's up, my guy?
Hey, hey, what's going on?
How are you,
How-
sir?
I'm well. Yeah, I don't really got much. I am well. Pretty decent, pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's good.
you look good. Your skin looks great.
You see me?
I see you, man.
You
I hear
see me?
shining on them.
Yeah, I've gotten more into this like flow of like life in LA since the girls have opened up the studio, and I don't know. I'm really good with routine, or when I have routine, then things flow really well. So I've been getting that since I've been like staying in semi into LA and like meeting people and knowing people and just feeling the vibe and flow here of like what works for me. So
Nice.
I think it's affecting my body pretty well. Also, yeah, ever since I turned like 30, I've been having a really good adult face. Like I feel like my adult face is fire.
Yeah. If if you like it, I'll love it. So this week, right? I do think that in the past few weeks we've been able to unpack a lot of things for you.
Hmm.
Who you are, how you perceive the world, what's your relationship with the world, and how you're perceived as well. But I want to talk about the Orlando that's not front facing. Think of your shadows, the hidden self. Orlando's what does Orlando look like when Orlando's upset? What upsets Orlando? What gets you off your path?
Um, that is a very good question. Specifically, what gets me off my path, because as you know, with part of my like ritual or ceremony of like seeing the future is envisioning the path and like staying on it. So I do think that I I don't really have much moments where I veer off, but what can take me there is uh, it's really only my relationship that I could think of that can like really get me mad,
Right.
right? Or somebody that I care about. Um that can get me mad. It's not really a lot of things that can take me out of character, and I mean mad and take me out of character. But I think that I feel like that when it comes to people, where I feel like, oh, I'm upset at something or someone, and it comes when I feel there's a little level of like disrespect, or and that makes me impatient. So if I feel like there's some type of like disrespect or inconsideration, or it's how I viewed, I think it's like how I viewed you at a certain level, um, and having that expectation and you're not living up to it is upsetting.
Okay. How does one disrespect Orlando?
Um, just not being thoughtful. That's very hard. Like I also feel like it takes a. Does it take a lot to? No, it doesn't take a lot to like to make me feel like I'm disrespected, but it has to be direct, really, for me to say like, "Oh, you're doing this purposely to disrespect me," and then that's
Mhm.
when my impatience comes in. That's where I start feeling like I'm kind of like demoting people in my life, or like putting a ceiling on them, because okay, that's where you're gonna have to stay as far as like how far you can go with me in our relationship, not intimate relationship, but just like knowing each other, or friendship or whatever the case may be. And It's disappointing because it's kind of like a blame on myself, because I've chosen you to be this kind of person, or I viewed you or valued you to be this kind of person, and you didn't do as to my expectations what I felt like you're this type of person that you should uphold this type of value as far as like when it comes to me. And because when somebody doesn't do that, I go, wow, I made a bad decision, or I made a wrong decision. And I really like blame myself for accepting that person in my life in that capacity, and for that to be the result of it. And so I put that onus on myself, and that's what makes it upsetting.
So you take responsibility for others' behaviors because they are failing to meet your expectations.
Yeah, but it's just because I can always find the responsibility which I can take in everything. So I can't control everybody else, right? So if I can take responsibility for a certain amount of actions, or take a certain percentage of responsibility for how things happen, then I can assess what role I played. And the role I played was feeling like somebody should be at a certain level or do a certain thing, or my assumption of them or who they were. And so then in result of that is, don't put them at that level, or lower their level, or put them in a certain space where they properly belong, because where I put them before, they disappointed me.
Where does that come from?
Believe who they listening. Actually, that comes from listening, because I listen to people and I believe who they are, whether they're saying in their what they say and in their actions. I literally listen to people. So when you actually show me who you are, I accept it. I don't want you to be any different than who you are, because I want to know exactly who I'm dealing with. And so once I know that, or maybe I had a perception of that and was upheld and you showed something differently, or I had a perception and you did even better, now I can put you in a certain space because I'm actually listening, paying attention to exactly who you are. And it doesn't mean that you have to be out of my life now. I just know exactly how to deal with you. And so the onus is, if I know exactly who you are, the responsibility is now up to me. If I know exactly who you are, what am I going to do about it now? So I can't go, huh?
Go ahead.
I just feel like I can't go, oh, you're a fucked up person, or you did this to disappoint me, so now you need to do certain things to not disappoint me in the future. Or I need to take responsibility on the capacity that I have with you in my life, so that I'm not disappointed in the future, because I don't like anybody being in control of my life.
So what I'm hearing you say is that you're very mindful of your level of involvement with individuals, and that you pay very close attention to their character, because if they were to do something that impacts you negatively, instead of blaming them, you actually take a step back and kind of see what role you played in that. It's as if you are very meticulous assessing who people are to determine how much access they have around you or in your life, because based on that access, they can affect you.
Don't be taking what I say and making it sound better. But yeah, that's really it. I assess people, put them where they be, and this has happened with close friends, right? So in comparison of close friend to close friend, I have certain close friends that are in certain places, or in certain spaces in my life, and it's just built out from our interactions throughout our life. But they're my close friend, right? And even they have a certain space. Everybody has a certain space, but being disrespected and stuff like that'll put you in a certain space where it limits our interaction. And that's because I'm listening to who you are. I know who I am and what I'm willing to accept.
Mm-hmm.
And then I make my decision. Because I tell people all the time, I can deal with a fucked up person that's honest about them being a fucked up person than a quote unquote good person that doesn't really know who they are.
What does your assessments look like? Like, what are you listening to? What are you paying attention to? How do you know your how do you know the way that you're reading that person is actually true or is actually correct?
I don't. I only know. I'm only reading by what they present.
Okay.
So I'm not making up anything. I'm taking if what you're telling me, if you don't know who you are and you're telling me or whoever you're presenting as, I'm gonna take you as the person who you don't know who you are until you figure out who you are. But because I'm paying attention to take that back, because I'm a person who knows how I am and knows how that feels, it's easier to I was about to sneeze. Excuse me. Thank you. It's easier to realize when people aren't being themselves or realize when people aren't being real. Am I going to get it right all the time? No, but it's easier. So I can tell when someone just isn't being themselves. But also there'll be people who be like, I'm a fucked up person this way, or I don't really have time for that. And because they were just straight up, and sometimes people, and then there are those people who say straight things like that straight up, and their actions follow that. What am I going to say to that? You said who you were, and you showed up exactly who you are. It's a thing that happens all the time, and we missed it all the time just because we're not paying attention, because we're not listening. Like, but people will show you exactly who they are or who they're trying to present to be.
What led to you developing that mindset or that train of thought of assessing who people are and to classify them in your life?
They're probably from my mom. My mom used to be fake as fuck. Oh, is that what you were trying to get at?
This whole time, yes. This whole time, I'm trying to see if you can link it back to your childhood, but yes, you did.
Yeah. Oh, the foundational part of that is probably from my mom. My mom used to be fake as fuck. And I mean fake in the sense of, in two aspects. She was always exaggerating or lying, right? Because to fit, she's one of those people that lie in a story to fit the mold of her being right in the story, right? Except that the story is her whole life. So it's not just stories that she's telling, it's how she's living her life as if it's a facade. Because one of the things was, my mom was like consistently pursuing my dad while he was married. And I was the firstborn child, but my dad was already married and had me as a firstborn child with my mom. And then had a child with his wife right after. And then not being cognizant when I was younger, but seeing it and people always talking about it, like you're pursuing, like my mom telling my mom, like you're pursuing a married man and stuff like that. It resonated with me, right? Resonated. And then as I got older, I started to realize there are a lot of people like not being themselves.
Mm.
And I realized that good and bad in this world is only based on perspective, right? I'm not talking about right or wrong, or good and bad. Or maybe I got that. No, I'm talking about good and bad, right? So if I think somebody is a toxic, if somebody else thinks this person is a toxic, fucked up person, and I see it, but they're also being real about their toxic, fucked up ways, I'm gonna see that as like, oh wow, you're a great person because you're honest
and they're accountable. And that's basically what you've been saying this whole time is accountability. Can you take accountability for who you are, for you not doing your work yet, or for the work that you have done? When you have a misstep, when you do have a misstep, are you able to realize the role that you played in that?
Yeah. So it's a it is a mix of like watching my mom be fake, watching my mom not be herself, and just me rejecting that notion. But I wasn't specifically rejecting that notion. I've just always been rejecting my parents because I just thought that what they had wasn't good in
Gotcha.
my perspective,
But
right? So mhm.
doesn't that happen in a lot of relationships? Like you end up liking someone, then you try to become a version of who you are that you think that this person is going to like.
That's the problem.
You think so?
Creating a version of yourself of what you think the person is going to like. So now that person is reacting to that reality, which is not actually what you are. And that person wants to like you, not what you think the other person likes. So now all these little interactions that go by hourly, weekly, daily, hourly, daily, weekly, monthly, it starts to build up. And now you start veering off the path towards liking or acting like you like this whole different person than this person actually is. And when this person keeps acting like they like this person, you keep keeping up the facade, which is straying away further and further, but you can't realize it because it's a slow stray. It's not a direct angle, it's not a right turn. It's a slow stray veering off the path.
Welcome
It's
to dating 2023.
exactly, and which is why I say it's hard for me to be distracted and veer off the path because I'm consistently being myself.
Hmm.
And that's where it starts. Once you be yourself, you're always on the path and in alignment for a lot of other things in your life. So, yeah, my mom not being herself, she's an example of that. So somebody that she was doing whatever to make my dad want to be with her.
Hmm.
Never gonna happen. But you did that shit for like how many years? Like over 10 years of like my life. So unattractive now.
Yeah. And as a child, saying that that's also tough, right?
Yeah. But and then even post my dad, like they're just still because she's been stuck in the cycle for so long, there are still things about her personality that's still there. So it's like lack of accountability, lack of reality of like what's actually happening, right? Lack of
Self love.
all of it.
Yeah.
It's just all of it.
Has there been instances where you've trusted people that presented a certain way and that you thought were of a specific way, and then they showed you that that was actually not true?
All the time. It happens all the time. It happens to this day still because I know that I have things set up in place for me to realize when somebody's being real, right? But I do initially start with whoever you say you present you are, right? Because I'm not held back by my traumas. I'm not held back by, oh, people have been fake to me, so now I'm on guard all the time, or now I don't trust or believe people when they speak about who they are. You come to tell me you are a Mac and you are a whatever career, you have this, whatever family, I'm going to believe that and I'm going to act on that. And then if you come to find out you don't have any of that, then that just, you will be set in a certain space because it came to be that you weren't that. And it always comes to light. It just never fails. You can't fight who you are in your path.
Do you
So,
consider yourself guarded?
no, because I don't have my guard up. I'm actually pretty transparent
Why are you not guarded?
because that's a good point. I don't know. I do know that I'm not scared. So I'm not bound by like the fears of my trauma or this me being scared of somebody disappointing me. I'm not scared of being disappointed. I don't like it, but I'm not scared of it. So I'm not gonna react or act based on fear. to put up these walls because I'm scared that somebody's going to come attack me. That's the only reason why people have their defense up, because they feel like they're about to be attacked. I'm not scared of being attacked. I'm not scared of anybody. So it's easy for me to have my defense down and show exactly who I am. Because guess what? Everybody has their guard up. So why just be like everybody else when I can be the one person with no guard, and then now nobody knows how to react.
But it's not making sense to me. You are one of the persons that have dealt with a lot, right? Where you've trusted a number of people and they've let you down and they've hurt you. However, you have no protection around you, and you're allowing everybody in with clearance, and then you classify them.
Yeah.
Right? You don't promote, you demote.
No, I promote also. People have growth. People have change. The thing about this is not a I'm letting everybody in, right? This is I'm tired. Like I've been disappointed a lot. I've been let down a lot. I've been heartbroken a lot. This is not a I'm just tired. I don't have the energy to have my defense up and put the energy towards that and really wait and see. Fuck it. At this point, at this point, I've been through that much hurt that it's just like, fuck it, right? No, you can't really hurt me anymore. And this is not coming from a numb standpoint. This is coming from an acceptance standpoint. Like, this is life. People are going to hurt you. I can't stop that, but I can control how I react to that. I can control what kind of problem solving skills I have for myself, for the situation. So instead of trying to run away from something that I'm always going to come across, I might as well find a better way of dealing with it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Now, by the way, that's excellent. That's excellent. The fact that there's a running theme in all of our sessions. How is it that you've already gotten there so quickly and so early, as opposed to everybody else?
I feel like
it's because you're gifted.
I mean, universally, spiritually, I could say that I'm gifted, but physically, in the real world, and if we want to put like an answer to that, I've just been through a lot in a concentrated amount of time. Yeah. And luckily, because I mean, this could have been 50-50. I could have just been like, I could have my guard up. I could have been a whole different person. Correct. And honestly, a lot of people that know my life and know me tell me it's really crazy because for the shit that you've been through, you could have went a whole different way with me, right? Could have been very toxic of me, or a person who created. Anyway, what the fuck was I saying?
Were you at some point toxic?
No, not in the way that people think. Like, I was 16 at one point, I was 17 at one point, I was 21 at one point, but I wasn't like toxic. I actually took pride in being kind to people, and being a gentleman.
You're rare.
No, I'm one and only. It's like me. But what I like to tell people is, they could be nobody else like you too, but that's up to you.
Correct. How do you deal with anger and disappointment nowadays?
I've been breathing, my friend. I try and breathe.
Yeah.
Because yeah. I don't feel the need. I don't feel like I'm in a space where shit should make me angry. But like I said, I can't control that. So it's all about creating problem-solving techniques, right? Like, what am I gonna do instead of being mad at this, right? Or, which I also agree with, am I gonna sit in this and accept this and let my body feel this and go through this motion instead of rushing through it. So it's an assessment for myself on like how I feel at the moment. There'll be times where I told Mila like, yeah, I accept your apology, but I'm still mad. My body is still mad right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just gonna have to take its time. I'm letting you know that I'm cool, we're good. I'm just still mad. So it just depends on how I feel in assessing the situation. But it's not, I don't try to let anger be my primary emotion.
Do you have any ways of releasing that, of working through it apart from sitting and breathing?
Masturbation.
I didn't see that one coming. So
You didn't see that one coming.
You masturbate angrily, like you need the dopamine release to allow the anger to also be released.
I masturbate with intention. I need the release of whatever energy is making me upset. First chakra. And I'm doing that through a sexual release, second chakra. And so when I use that intention, when I put an intention towards like, oh, you know, I'm trying to get this off my chest, and I'm like, there's the like foundation of that memory, and I'm actually envisioning as I come, this is leaving my body, this problem. It's the intention and ceremony behind it. So that's how I say masturbation. It's a sexual healing ceremony for self-sexual healing.
In my up 10 years of doing this, I've never heard a client create a link between their coping mechanism being masturbation in a healthy manner.
True masculinity.
This is different. Okay. So when you're setting the intention, is there a specific visual stimulation that you need to have to match what your intentions are?
Yeah, I can envision it also. Third eye chakra.
So you're not using pornography, you're just using your imagination.
I mean, if I want to place a person to the entity or the energy, then yeah, I can. I mean, you literally could just do whatever the fuck you want, honestly. It's just how you envision it and what feels right to you and how you want to go about it. I'm just saying that the ceremony of using masturbation and the thought of release, of also releasing that energy and releasing that thought, that's it right there. That's the foundation of it. And however you want to use your energies and your visualizations and even your voice, because using your energy of your voice and saying things is also powerful, right? So I'll also say, you know, I don't want to think about this, or I'm over this, or just whatever I want to say, or fuck this. Like if I want to say angrily, I feel that emotion and I speak it. So, and also, this is how your chakras align. So that first chakra is the chakra of release. Second chakra is that sexual chakra. The third chakra is your core. Your fifth chakra is your heart chakra, speaking it. That's your throat chakra. Your third eye chakra is envisioning it, right? And so when you're using all these energies at the same time, you're in alignment.
Wow.
This would be great for people that watch this on video. You understand what I'm talking about.
I'm impressed.
As per usual. You won't know why I know all of this?
Uh-huh.
Because I listen to you.
Okay.
This is the knowledge of people that have come before me. I listen to people and I see how it affects me and assists with me, and I assess how it makes sense to me. And this is just regurgitated from my point of view. Not to say that I'm right or wrong, but maybe if somebody hears this and goes about it this way, let's see how it helps them also. And if it helps them, it helps them. It doesn't, it doesn't. It's just something that doesn't sit with them. And also that self-sexual healing can also go for women masturbation.
Nice. You definitely belong on an island somewhere among the trees, walking barefooted, going to the river, taking a bath out there, climbing a tree, and all of that. The city does is no longer fitting you. Are you making space for who you're becoming?
Am I making space for who I am becoming? The answer is yes, as long as I be myself. That's usual. But that's not an answer for me. That's an answer for my natal chart reader. She told me that as long as I stay the path of who I am, and the path is just me, that it will be laid out, and I will be in alignment, and I will get to where I need to be. So that's her answer. Me repeating, but I also believe in that answer.
Would you be able to identify anything that might be holding you from being you to the fullest?
No,
Do you have any fears?
losing Mila is because she is the one thing I've worked a very long time for.
How is that fear manifesting into the relationship?
I'm making every single minute that we have together beautiful.
That sounds like a lot of responsibilities.
Because I'm perfect.
Do you think at times your performance can make her feel that she's not doing enough?
Yes.
Have you guys talked about that?
Not in that specific wording, but yes. It broke my heart when she felt like that.
Oh. Oh. So I can definitely see that.
Yeah.
Would anyone consider your devotion, your day-to-day devotion to her, possible love bombing?
Okay.
I'm asking.
I can't answer that question. I don't know. But honestly, if they do, okay. And now that we have this information, what are we gonna do with it? I'm love bombing. Now what?
Are you?
Am I? If I am, now what? Yes. Now what?
It's a great question.
So it's like now what? Nobody's mad. If I was, nobody's mad.
At times, do you feel resentful to based on your output and what you're getting back?
Resentful would mean like being upset from something of the past.
No, in terms of, do you feel so, since like your answer was you're fully devoted and you try to make every minute beautiful,
Hmm.
right? And I'm assuming your performance and your performance, I'm not gonna say dedication, your mindful performance, you're very intentional with your performance, right? At times, do you feel a degree of what's the word I'm looking for? I still want to use resentful.
Let's do layman's terms.
Do you feel that at times you're doing so much, and do you get upset by the fact that she may not be doing as much as you're doing currently?
No, that's her business. seeing somebody do that much for you right in front of your face, it does put that like pressure on you. And it's not a bad pressure. Like, I do feel like, yo, if somebody's in my face and they fuck with me to this degree, oh, I fuck with you. Oh, I'm here. That's it. I don't see, like, that's the kind of pressure of love and your relationship. You love somebody, you want to do more for them. It's nothing crazy. I'm not, and honestly, I'm not doing anything crazy over here. And that's what makes it great. I'm listening. Like, we're having conversation. The first time somebody asked me, why do you love Mila? I said, because we laugh a lot.
And naturally get that question a lot from couples, where one would say, well, my partner stopped doing this, they're no longer doing that. And what I tend to tell them is, how you feel is exactly how your partner feel as well, because a relationship's a dyadic process. Mm-hmm. So instead of verbalizing what are they not doing, I want you to think back to the things that you used to do that you stopped doing. So what would happen if you increase your output and started doing more for your partner? More than likely, they would also step up their game. It's a dyadic process.
Yes, it's reciprocity. And I know there's reciprocity because we have compatibility. So I don't mind doing more because I know what I'm getting back.
There you go.
Like, I got the compatibility first, and then I started doing things or being a certain way that would issue the reciprocity. It's a step-by-step game.
When was the last time you exercised?
Why would you ask me that question? Like, why would you do that?
Because I can tell that you're working a lot. Or are you taking time to care for Orlando?
Oh, well, the answer is yes.
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 Okay, so walk me through all the self-care activities that you engage with this week.
What day is it, Saturday?
Yeah.
I put myself in a very peaceful space to be productive throughout the week. And that realization brought my anxiety down a lot.
Okay, so you created a space where you could manage your anxiety to better perform.
No, I went to a space where I can better perform, and that helped my anxiety.
Okay. Now I'm talking about self-care. What are the acts of self-care that you're partaking in this week?
That I have partaken in?
Yes.
Oh, I had a very, very, I had a very deep discussion on multiple days about just my point of view. And it was great because after the discussion, I felt like a lot at ease because I finally felt understood about this specific certain point.
Okay.
And the reason why I was able to have the discussion in this fashion and feel this level of comfort is because of therapy.
Okay. Thank you for that. So I'm going back to my question again, Orlando.
So, tie it all in. I just realized that doing something for myself, which was therapy, and then it working out, and it's the actions of doing these things that made me feel like this is making me feel way better. That, I think that is how I'm viewing like my self-care. Not necessarily, well, I mean, I've done meditations this year. I've done like these new breathing exercises for like these 20-minute guided meditations. That's what the other thing was. I've been to guided meditations, and usually I, think my own thoughts and like do my own thing in my head. But now I've been more open to guided meditation and having someone lead my thoughts or like lead the conversation, and me like just seeing how that feels and just envisioning what comes from that. And when I did it twice with Mila, I was able to envision things that the person that was doing the guided meditation then mentioned right after. So I thought it was like really cool.
We're gonna save that for the next session. For this week, all I want you to do is to up your water.
Yes. Oh man, I started that. I was like, oh yeah, I gotta drink more water.
To up your water, or you're also taking a multi.
Yeah.
Daily.
Yeah. I'm gonna get my supplements and stuff. I forgot to tell you something.
What?
I'm finally in process of getting my name off my house in New York.
Ooh, that's a big relief. So how about
that was the other part. Oh man. Woo!
Yeah, we're gonna talk about the next
We gotta
next session.
Okay.
There's a lot of unpacking there. So we're upping our water, we're continuing with a multi. I want you to start taking a daily walk. Because I know when you go into your office and you get into working, the hours just go by. So at some point, I just need you to partake in a 20-minute walk outside.
I'm implementing my workout schedule, and we found a better workflow at the studio, and it's good now. So I can now implement like, okay, I can do 2 hours. I can chunk out 2 hours right here, get what I need to get done, and it not be spoken about like a sacrifice of time.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, it was a pleasure, my man. I will see you next week.
Perfect.